Welcome back to the Matter of Facts podcast on the Prepper Broadcasting Network. We talk prepping, guns, and politics every week on iTunes, Stitcher, and Spotify. Go check out our content at mwfpodcast.com on Facebook or Instagram. You can support us via Patreon or by checking out our affiliate partners. I'm your host, Phil Rabley, and my co-host, Andrew Bobo, is on the other side of the mic, and here's your show.
Hey, welcome back to the Matter of Facts podcast. As you're hearing my voice, so we're live right now, but the people who hear this recording, Phil is sick, so I get to screw everything up. I don't know if I'm doing this right. He usually does everything. So, but no, thanks for everybody. Thanks for joining us. Whether you're listening to this in a week or so, or you're catching the live show, or just the recorded show on YouTube. We are sitting here with Josh from Advanced Armament Co. And if anybody has not heard of them, check them out. I've had one of their suppressors now since 2018, I believe. But before we get into it, Josh, how you doing?
Doing well. How are y'all doing?
Good. Sucks that co-host isn't working or isn't available. He's, like I said, he's sick. He was bummed out because he was looking forward to it. But yeah. We'll see how things go. I can't imagine I could screw this up too much. I'm sure you'll keep me dialed in.
No, that's all good. We'll fight it together, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. So I guess we'll just dive right into it. Just tell us about the company.
Okay. Yeah. So AAC started back in the late '90s with Kevin Brittingham. He's really the founder and creator of AAC to begin with. Back then, it was Advanced Armament Corp. So Kevin, did a good job bringing AAC to the forefront, becoming one of the oldest names, one of the best names in the silencer industries. And then around 2012, 2013, he sold off to Remington. So Remington purchased AAC and through the Freedom Group and all that shamble. And then around 2019, 2020 is basically when Remington went bankrupt. So AAC was purchased at a bankruptcy auction by JJE Capitals. So basically, not a real familiar name, but if you know Palmetto State Armory, the DPMS guys, it's their investment firm that owns them. So we're under the same banner as Palmetto State now.
Okay.
But good thing about that, they basically let us do our thing versus having that overwatch like we did at Remington. So they don't micromanage, and we're doing what we want basically versus being what we told.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, I guess let's just get into it. The Remington story. I mean, everybody's familiar with Remington, the brand name especially, and just everything that they had. I mean, it was they had a lot of things. Like they had a big umbrella. They casted a big shadow. Oh, yeah. They had a lot of just different. I believe they controlled. I think it was it Marlin. They had
Marlin, DPMS, Bushmaster, Parker Brothers, H&R. Us, AAC, Remington, Tapco, just a ton of different companies all under one umbrella.
And then on top of that, I mean, not just the gun companies, but the reloading too for the ammo.
Oh yeah.
I mean, their ammo it was huge. How much ammo they supplied to the country, and so everything kind of. I mean, I guess correct me if I'm wrong, but the downfall. I mean, really, they were so big, and then of course Bushmaster. Everybody who pays attention to any of the shootings or anything like that the mainstream media makes high profile, they push it was the Bushmaster, and then that led into a lot of lawsuits.
Mm-hmm. The whole Sandy Hook deal and all that. And then the other thing is basically, so during the 2016 election, is Remington hyped up production on Bushmaster and DPMS because everyone thought, Hillary was going to get it. And then out of, nowhere, Trump won. So Remington had an abundance of AR-15s that they just mass produced just for that reason. And then that's like you said, they got too big for what they could do. And then it piled on debt on top of debt on top of debt. And it's just had to get out. Because when I was there between 2014 and 2018, went through 2 bankruptcies and 3 CEOs within a 4-year span. So, I mean, as soon as you got comfortable and level-footed, everything got swept out underneath you with a new, new board, new owners, all that fun stuff, which, you can't do nothing with. You're just
Right.
stuck.
Yeah. No, that's crazy. Yeah. And then, but yeah, and then I'm sure with all the debt that they had on top of that, the lawsuits that piled on from the shootings and stuff, and then
Oh yeah,
the courts turn around and said, "Oh, well, yeah, Remington, you can pay this much money to the families," and it's just like it's just crazy. Blaming an inanimate object basically on evil, someone who wants to commit an act of evil is just it's crazy to me.
right.
But apparently, it's those who are hell bent on attacking our Second Amendment right. They're okay. They'll do whatever they can to.
Yeah, they're gonna find something that's not
Right.
something with the person. It's what he has or what she has to do it with.
Right. Exactly. And so so when did you start with the company exactly? You said you started back with. I mean, it was with Remington.
So yeah, I was a Remington employee from 2014, 2018. Took over the lead AAC role in around end of 2015, 2016. So when that happened, I was mainly the lead tech, lead CS customer service guy, and then I saw the writing on the wall, got out, went to the government contractor side, worked on base here at Redstone for a couple years. And then the product manager, Ben, reached out to me and was like, "Hey, we're getting the band back together. We're going to see what happens. You want to be a part?" I said, "Sure. I could be doing worse things, right?"
Yeah.
So I was like, "Yeah, I'll start back." So I got back on board around September of 21. So basically the rebirth of AACs, I've been with them since day one. So just trying to rebuild the brand, get the market space back, and get the name in everybody's mouth and face like it used to be.
Right. Yeah, because I was pretty worried there first for a hot second because you guys uh, when Remington fell, when everything happened with Remington, I went to because every once in a while I would go to the AAC, the old website, and I would just kind of browse through. I'd look at like my suppressor and the one I have, and then I would sit there and I would kind of compare to some of the newer ones that they had that were coming out and that they are advertising anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, like everything happened with Remington. They were talking about how these companies all split up and these people went wherever, and I didn't necessarily see AEC on there. And and that was after I did some research and found out that AEC was under the Remington umbrella. But I didn't
Right.
see you guys. I didn't see you guys like their listing. Palmetto was going to these places, DPMS, all this other stuff or whatever, or DPMS was going over to like Palmetto,
Right.
and I'm looking. I'm like, well, I don't see AAC, and so I went to your guys' website, and I'm like, and it wasn't available. It was
Yeah.
down, and I'm like, well, crap. I said, now if I ever have to get if I ever have to get anything serviced or whatever, it's one of those things. It's like, crap, what do I do? And then I don't know, randomly, I saw you, I can't remember what it was. I saw an ad. I think it was on Instagram I saw something on Instagram and I went to your website. I was like, okay, cool. They're back. And then I started looking at your guys' products and you guys have really like re-engineered the
Oh
suppressor
yeah.
as far as like the old suppressor that I have. Like you completely like really re-engineered it, made it it made it a lot better.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's one of those things you can only keep that product. I mean, that was the thing with Remington. They would hold our hands and hold our hands back from doing any type of new can, so to speak. That's why we did the N6s, N4 2000s forever and a day. And you never saw any new product except when the Jaeger was released or the Halcyon,
Mm-hmm.
which now we have all this free range. And we're like, all right, well, let's just start from the drawing board, start fresh. That's why you might have noticed that when we relaunched the brand, we didn't relaunch with a rifle can outside of the Jaeger because basically this time last year, all those Ranger 5 and 7s were both in R&D time.
Mm-hmm.
So we had them built, but we're just trying to prove them out, make sure the sound was good, the durability was there, and they passed with all flying colors with everything. So we were really pleased to finally get those things out into the market space.
And yeah, because it looks like you made them, they're serviceable too, so you can take them down, correct or no?
You can you can clean the back end out, basically where that direct thread, you can unscrew that, clean your blast baffle some, and clean the blast chamber. And then if you have a front end cap strike, whereas your can, you would have to bring it in, machine it off, put it on lathe, put a new one, new end cap, weld it. Now you just remove that front end cap with a certain thread, right tight, left loose, and get the replacement on the website or call us. and you can also clean a little bit there. So it's a little bit. It's not completely user serviceable, but it's better than what it was.
Yeah, it's better than my. Like we were talking at the top of the show or before we started here. Like mine, I mean, I can't take mine down at all. I mean, I can quick detach on and quick detach off, and that's it.
Right.
And so and that we're talking about was I was having issues with my 6.5 Creedmoor, with throwing rounds, and it's just one of those things that even being able to take that front cap off, like the front and end, even if you could just take those off and actually get access, and you can actually scrub on a couple things, and get some, make sure you're getting enough fluid, make sure you're getting good contact with certain certain things, the baffles and stuff in there as best as you can. Versus mine, it's just like, I guess I'm gonna just try to reach in here with a Q-tip and see what I can get.
Yep, Q-tip and dental picks are your friend.
Yeah. Yep. So no, that's awesome. I'm really just looking at your guys' suppressor, like the Ranger series, and then like even the Tyrant, like the Tyrant 9, the 45. I really like just the overall look and like what you guys have done to them.
Oh yeah, and that's the one thing is the Tyrant series. I mean, it's been top of the game for, it seems like, forever and a day. So there was not much we could do differently. I mean, with the 9, we made a little bit more stainless steel baffles versus aluminum, just because we noticed that a lot of people were running PCCs. So the only thing you can get hardly, readily available is 115 grains.
Yeah.
And as you know, it's a dirty round. It can be dirty, especially if you're just blowing 30 round mags. So with stainless steels, you can just drop them in an ultrasonic and be done with it, versus aluminum where it would eat it away. But yeah, for performance-wise, it's still one of the top cans in the industry. So there's really not much we could do, but maybe cosmetics, add different finishes, things like that. There was no need in trying to redesign the baffles or anything to chase a better sound, because it just works.
Yeah. And I mean, and that's the thing though too, is I feel like in the last, I don't know, maybe 15 years, I feel like the suppressor industry has exploded.
Sure.
For better words, it seems like a lot of companies are coming out. So what are you guys trying to do that's different? Like, what are you guys trying to look at suppressors in a different light, or trying to redo something? Because it's like you can only redesign the wheel so many times. So it's like, so what are you guys doing different?
So the biggest thing that we've seen is a lot of people are not, like back in the old days, it was basically chasing numbers. Who can get the quietest can on the market, regardless of everything else. Nowadays, people are willing to give up a few dBs louder if you can eliminate that back pressure, which is that gas to your face. So that's the big driving force now, is to how can we keep the sound, somewhat good, what it used to be, but also eliminate the back pressure a good bit. Because the M4 2000 and N6s, they can be very gassy at times. And that was always the feedback when we went back to SHOT last year for the first time. A lot of guys were like, hey, love the M4 2000, just wish it wasn't so gassy. So we are working on that, and that's what we took into R&D on this Ranger series is, it might be a few dBs louder from your competitors, but your blowback, your gas blowback is a lot less than what it was prior. So we're, doing that using machine baffles versus the 3D stuff. 3D is cool. It has its place. It's lightweight. You can design baffles that can't be machined, and you can print them. So it does have the advantage. But until, it's one of those things, we've looked at it, but the risk reward isn't there for us right now. We just trust machining, just because if something goes wrong, we can fix things a lot easier than you can with a 3D printed can.
Yeah, I noticed. I can't remember what company it is, but I did see there is a company that is 3D printing suppressors, and I found that interesting. Excuse me. I don't know if I can trust it, just because of how much pressure you're putting out at the end of the muzzle, or the muzzle rather. I mean, I'm sure I watched some. I remember watching videos on it, and like it held up, but will hold up to multiple mag dumps. I mean, I'm not sitting there mag dumping, now with the price of ammo and stuff nowadays it is. But I mean, the nice thing about like the suppressor what I have is, and just a suppressor in general, is if it falls on the ground, if it smacks the tip, something happens, I can look at it and I can pretty much guarantee, like, look at the dirt, make sure that it's not obstructed. but I can pretty much say, okay, like it's not necessarily damaged. The
Right.
3D printed one, I mean, and it depends on the material that they're using and everything. It comes down to
Mhm.
all of that and the tolerances, which I'm sure they're durable, but I'd be really afraid of, like, if I'm hunting and it falls into dirt, it falls into the dirt. If anything chipped out in the in the tip,
Mhm.
anything, if any teeth broke off, I don't know. It's the what ifs are out there to the moon and back, but
There is.
it's, yeah, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see. I'll start trusting it more when I start seeing more companies picking it up. I feel like the 3D technology, like the print and stuff, like it's new. Some people are staying away from it for certain reasons. Um, I'm definitely not, especially with how much cans cost nowadays. It's like I'm not
Yeah.
going to drop $900 on a can, and even though it's 3D printed, and then have something break off or something happen because it's 3D printed versus one that, like, you guys with the material and stuff that you use, and it would have been fine. So
Yeah. It's like I said, it's got its pros and cons like everything else. But yeah, it's like I said, it just needs to be more out there and more companies to use it before. Like I said, we've looked at it. It's just the risk reward isn't there for us.
right,
We trust machining a lot more. Just like you said, if something goes sideways, we can put it on a lathe and fix it. You know,
hmm
ain't got to worry about killing a tax stamp or anything like that and making the ATF more pissed off than they already are right now.
they're going
Uh,
ham. We'll get into that too. I like to get your opinion for this. But so here's a question for you. So we have
okay.
some people watching. Um, are you going to start doing our 51T mounts?
Yeah, so we've been doing 51T mounts for about 2 years now. You
Mhm.
can go on our website, advanced-armament.com, go to the web store. Both, threads, half 28, 5/8. We've been shipping them to Capital Armory, Black Ankle Munitions, so a lot of the, higher end NFA dealers and accessory dealers. So we've been making 51T mounts for about 2 years, and if there's something you can't find, just reach out to us, and we'll see what we can do by
Yep.
locating one or getting you one. But yeah, we're making them.
Yeah, I'm watching. I'm looking at them right now. I'll have to. Yeah, no, yeah, check them out. That's cool that you guys are making those and stuff again. I got I bought, when I first got my suppressor, I bought a 51T for my 5.56, my 300 blackout, my 308, and my 6.5 Creedmoor.
Okay.
And then I had a listener. He was like, "Hey," he goes, "I have some 51Ts that I'm not using anymore." So like he sent me a couple. Buddy of mine, he had 51T that he would like, and so I don't know. I got, not only do I have a bunch of them on my guns, but man, I got, I think, 4 extra
Oh yeah,
just
and
like laying
that's the
around.
thing is we knew that was going to be the first thing. So when we got the company going back up, we were like, all right, first goal is to let's put some 51Ts into the market because we saw them Gunbroker, AR15.com, $200-300 all day.
Mhm.
And it's one of those things. It's you supply demand, right?
Yeah,
So that's one thing we wanted to push out. Get it back to a reasonable price. I mean, MSRP is $100. I mean, we
yeah,
waste more money than that and we're doing stupid things, let alone using our firearms for it. So
right.
yeah,
Yeah, especially a multi-cal can. Like that's why I had so many, because I could just swap back and forth, and that was
exactly.
nice. But so I guess since we touched on the subject here, ATF, they've
Yep.
been going pretty wonky as of late. So let's touch on suppressors. Uh, Texas has been going. It's been interesting with Texas because they've been in a lawsuit right now to where basically anything stamped and made in Texas, and
Hmm.
because it's not over the border, as long as it doesn't do interstate commerce, it
Right.
doesn't fall. It doesn't need to be. It can't be regulated. It shouldn't be regulated. And the
Mhm.
ATF didn't like it. Came in and said no. We should be able to regulate it. So what's your thoughts on? Do you think that's going to hurt like your business at all? With first off, with companies that are like Texas, if well, let me try to figure out my words here. If like Texas, if other states are doing that, say, hey, made in, like Michigan, say, and I doubt it's going to happen anytime soon now, but say Michigan says, hey, made in Michigan, it's good as long as it doesn't travel over the state lines, and
Mhm.
companies start popping up here to start doing made in Michigan suppressors. Do you see that as a thing going to happen, or is there a way that, are you guys talking about that at all, or is that something that you guys are looking at and possibly planning for?
Well, we're not looking at it. I mean, we've seen it. Kansas tried that, years before Texas did, and I think a couple guys ended up in jail because basically the ATF wants you to all your machinery, your metals, your computers, all of those components have to be made in the state in order for it to be a completely made in Texas component or whatever state. Uh, I don't see it taking off. I think there's a better chance of hopefully getting suppressors off the registry more so than that's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I think the ATF, I think silencers on it is, crazy in itself. Basically, because the only reason it was put on the registry was for poaching back in the 30s.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't do anything like, machine guns, destructive device, anything like that. It was just mainly to keep people from poaching, of all things. But yeah, I don't see that taking off anytime soon. It's one of those things, like I said, I can see it happening, being pulled off the registry quicker than each state doing their own specific thing, because that would hurt a lot of the businesses. I mean, us, Silencer Co., Dead Air, Otter Creek, Energetics, it would hurt a lot of our business because, I mean, if you live in a state that does it like Texas, you can either A, buy the can made in Texas, you don't pay a tax stamp, you don't wait, or you're going to buy a competitor's can that's out of state, pay your $200, wait 14 months. I mean, which one are you going to do? So, I mean, it would hurt the industry as a whole if that was to go to fruition.
Yeah, and the way I see it too is, I mean, just like Kansas, I'm happy to see that Texas is pushing back in it,
Right.
because Kansas passed that law, and it's like, oh, okay, that was cool, and then the ATF came in and arrested a couple of those guys, and
Yep.
Kansas was like, okay, you're on your own.
Yeah, they just rolled
I feel
over.
I feel like the government, like the state government, just completely just, okay, not you're good.
Little bait and switch action.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if I'm wondering. I just feel like the Fed came in and was like, "Hey, this will happen if you give these guys up. If you guys don't, if you guys just back off and let us do our thing, like, basically a backdoor deal. I feel like with the governor or something happened
Yeah.
because they came in, arrested the guys, and then it was like nothing in Kansas. You didn't hear a peep from like the governor or anything like that. Like,
Right. And we know the ATF would never do backdoor deals, right?
yeah,
ATF
right.
would never do such a thing.
No, they have your dog's your dog in their dreams, and they in their best
And
interest.
they dream of Waco all over again.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So Texas fighting back. I'm happy to see it that they're pushing back against the ATF, not backing down. But yeah, I don't see it going anywhere either with the made in whatever state. I mean,
Well,
I'm all for. Go ahead.
It's the same thing like the Hearing Protection Act, the HPA when it was going is, because I was at Remington when that happened, and they're like, all right, we're going to pump AAC's numbers up because it's going to be super easy to do, and then all of a sudden HPA is dead in the water.
Yeah.
So it's another one of those things. It's just piled debt on top of debt, but I can see that happening a lot quicker than anything else, but it's still a ways off. It's nothing overnight or in the year or two.
No, and that's the thing is I would love to see suppressor. I would love to see the NFA go goodbye altogether.
Right.
But suppressors, it's crazy to me that you have, I mean, Europe, like they actually are like, hey, you don't have they look down at you and they're like, you're a peasant if you don't have a suppressor.
Right, and you can buy them over at any drugstore over the counter. It's just like anything. It's easier to buy a suppressor over there than as a firearm. Right?
Yeah, which is crazy to me.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We live in a crazy world right now. What do you think about your company and stuff? Like, what do you guys think about just what's going on as a whole? We're seeing the largest push for gun control that we've seen in years. The ATF has changed the rules on multiple times. I really feel like we've called this that this decision, especially the pistol braces,
Right.
This decision when they first came out and said, okay, no, it's good, and then they're like, nah, you can't shoulder it. Nah, you can shoulder it. It's okay. And then I feel like a bunch of us were looking at it like, this is a trap. Like, I feel like they're just going to, down the road, kind of turn around and say, nope, can't do it anymore. So, I mean, what are you guys' thoughts on this? Have you guys talked about this in company?
No, we haven't. I mean, we look at it, like anything else, strong supporter of the Second Amendment. So we don't want any more gun control than there already is because we know it's crazy. But yeah, the whole brace thing is ridiculous to us. I mean, it's one of those things I told, SB Tactical, all those guys, like, yeah, you're perfectly fine. Make 1,000,000 of them. Let's see, you're good. And now it's the whole coming to them like, nah, you can't do this anymore. Yeah, you have to either destroy your gun, give up your brace, etc. And it's like, well, you can give you a free tax stamp and SBR it, but I just don't trust the government and free money. So there's got to be there's a catch to it. It's like the scene from It with Georgie and waiting down to the bottom, right?
Yeah, right.
It's just
the thing that cracks me up though too is that whole thing with the free quote unquote free tax stamp. You have to submit pictures of the rifle, pictures of the firearm, so that they can say, oh, it qualifies or it doesn't qualify. You have to submit pictures of you, pictures of the firearm, fingerprints. You have to submit. I think you have to submit like bank information. You have to submit like all kind. I mean, you basically have to throw everything out on paper more than what you actually would have to do with an actual tax stamp.
Right.
And then on top of that, if you live in a state that does not allow SBRs, they will deny you. They'll deny your tax stamp, and they'll alert the local authorities about this.
Yeah, it's like too many sketchiness going on. Like if you want to, well, I tell buddies that ask me about it, I'm like, if you want to SBR it, do it the traditional Form 1, pay your $200, be fine with it. Don't go in for the free tax stamp game. There's too much shadiness there for me.
I just feel like it's as soon as they release that, what is it, Admiral Akbar just popped in my head. It's a trap. Like that all over it. It's crazy. And I'm curious because I mean, a lot of lawsuits piled on against the ATF today.
It's same thing, but you got to look at it too with the bump stocks. I mean, it's getting overturned. It's going to end up at SCOTUS for too long, and it's like now, essentially, with the last appeals court, bump stocks are okay again for the time being, and it's like I can see the brace doing the same route. So more than likely, it's going to end up at SCOTUS. They're going to rule, one way or the other. Which
hopefully they rule.
Seems like good thing we got conservative justices this time.
Yeah, if they pick up the case, because there's some cases where they just don't even, they're just like, nah, we're not doing it. But a lot of that, though, I've noticed a couple of these cases that get to SCOTUS, they basically they just point to what they did. They say, look at Bruin, and then they just kick it back down to the lower courts because it's like, why are we're not going to discuss this again when we already ruled on Bruin, and the way we ruled on Bruin says you have to look at the history and text and all that stuff and like rule correctly, rule with the Constitution. So yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, and especially how SCOTUS rule with the EPA on enforcing, writing and enforcing your own laws. It's like ATF is not a law by they don't write their laws. They're an enforcement agency.
Yeah.
So there's just so much stuff going with it. It's crazy on how this is going to plan out. I mean, it's one of those things. Get your popcorn and let's see what happens. Because it's not going to be a boring ride. It's going to be a roller coaster for sure.
Yeah, it will be. And the only thing I'm really annoyed with it is one, I'm annoyed with it that it's even happening. But I'm annoyed that what's going to suck is you're going to have look at New York. It's going to be, to me, it's going to be exactly just like New York. So you're going to have basically the federal government gets slapped down, and then the ATF, they're just going to appeal it. And then it's going to go back, and then they're going to find some circuit judge that's going to be like, oh, you know what? No, we'll side with you. And then it's going to, and then it's going to get, okay, now it's going to get brought back. And then it's going to get shot down again. Like the lawsuits are going to pile in again. Like it's like, okay, no, you guys lost. You guys can't bring it back up. Yep. Take away the rule and goodbye.
Yeah, especially after you done ruled, it said it was perfectly fine. No issues. Right. You're good to go. And now you're like, yeah, about that. Yeah, we're not going to do that no more.
Yeah, and I really feel like, I don't remember too many rule changes like this before Trump, and I'm not blaming him for this, but when he basically was like, "Hey, that bump stocks are bad," and he just basically let the ATF redefine what they wanted, like what they defined as a machine gun. I really feel like that was like one of the
The
catalysts.
Pandora's box being
Yeah,
open.
because it seemed like ever since they did that, now they redefined what a machine gun was just for the bump stock. Now you got rare breed triggers and the force
Yep.
reset trigger stuff. Now that they're saying, well, that's a machine gun, and now they're saying, of course, now they're saying that the frame and receiver, they're changing their rule, their idea or their definition of frame and receivers, which is in lawsuits. Now they're changing what the frame or the pistol brace, like they're changing that now. So like I really feel like they've just been going ham ever since Trump was like, okay, go ahead and
Redefine everything.
define it. So and now they're just like, yeah, we can do it with whatever, which they can't. They're basically making laws and they can't make laws.
Right. Yeah.
So and I mean I'm speaking to the choir, but it's just it's crazy.
You just
It's
banging your head
frustrating.
on the wall. Right.
Oh yeah, because you look at stuff and you're like, oh well, I guess we're a bunch of us are felons nowadays.
Yeah, right off the bat.
Okay.
I mean, but the other thing is too is like ATF is thinking. I think their numbers is around 7 million braces are out into the world, and SB Tactical or the other companies are like, yeah, we put way more than that in there.
Well, they're 40 million, I think, is like
Oh, yeah.
the guesstimate.
And the other one is that 922R ruling that you read down that's, stuck in the bottom that you have to search for. It's like, yeah, that was shipped here illegally. You have to either destroy it or give it up. There's nothing you can do with that. I'm like, I just paid $1,000 for a CZ. I'm not giving you this $1,000.
Exactly. Yeah, same here. And even like, because I have a Beretta 1301 and a shotgun. And that's the thing is like, when I was researching it and stuff like that, one of the guys I used to work with, he was like, well, you got to be careful because he's like, you can't just buy, I mean, you can buy parts and do it, but you have to make sure it follows this, like it falls under that rule, like, because it has to, like, so many parts have to be here, so many parts have to be there. Like, it's really ridiculous with like some of these imports.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. It's very, like you can get lost in the sauce real quick with AKs. I think that's the biggest one.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I bought a Palmetto State Armory AK, and I guess they made it, so I, made
it's a U.S. made AK, right? It's made in South Carolina.
Yeah, wink. But no, John, you make a good point. It's the appeals court. It is interesting how they are ruling nowadays. It's almost like they're ruling based on the Constitution, like they should be.
Yeah, shocker, right?
Yeah, right. Like, but no, I really think that the Bruin case was that was a big win for the people. It was a big win for our Second Amendment right. And then you had, what was it? It was I can't remember what it is now. There was another ruling that I think it was like something about the Chevron deference and stuff like that. That they ruled against the government for, and so that really helps. But no, I'm kind of curious to see what's going to happen. Like you said, grab the popcorn and sit back because it will be interesting. And don't comply. Anybody listen to this? Don't, I guess for the agents and stuff listening to this too, don't comply. Just sit back and just see what happens. Don't register your stuff. It's a trap. Like, that's the biggest thing, is it's a trap.
Like I said, if you want to register an SBR, do it the traditional Form 1, pay your $200. That's going to be your best bet. If you want to SBR it, that's the way to do it. Don't fall for the free money.
No, it's not free. It'll come back and bite you in the butt.
Exactly.
But so with AAC, so what's on the horizon with AAC? Like, what do you guys got? What do you guys got planned?
So we got a few things. We've got a new rimfire can that'll hopefully be out probably around summer of this year. Looking at a new 8.6 blackout can. Just seeing the big push with 8.6 blackout with Kevin and Q, and then with Faxum actually supporting it with uppers, ARs, and barrels. We just feel like there needs to be a 8.6 can in our portfolio. So that's the other thing. And then we've got a few other projects in the head that we're looking at. Nothing that we can release, so to speak, but some pretty interesting, fun stuff that pays homage to the legacy of AAC.
That's good.
So it's going to be more of a premium can, but it's one of those things you pay for what you get. I mean,
yeah.
Rangers are a great can, a great meat and potato can that everybody can afford, beat down, just run it rough. That's just their duty use cans. You can beat them up. I mean, we did a lot of them. We did 10, 12 mag dumps back to back with them, and they never failed. So we're really happy with those cans.
The forbidden popsicle.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, get it glowing red. That's when you know you're doing something right.
Oh man, yeah, I'm. That just I've grabbed my suppressor after doing when I was at a class one time, and we just got done doing a course of fire, and I don't know, I just was not even paying attention. I set my rifle down for a break. Okay, let's get going. I bent down, grabbed the muzzle, and grabbed it, and I'm like, that's hot. Like my brain took a second to register. Like it was like a slow because it sat down enough to where it was cool enough, but like I grabbed the top, like I grabbed the very tip of the can with one hand, and like I grabbed the bottom, so it was kind of warm at the tip, and then at the bottom closer to the muzzle, like it was still hot, and so like I grabbed it, and I'm just like,
that's hot.
Yeah, I'm like, that's hot. Like,
yeah, that's the thing. It's
register.
That's what I tell all the guys here when they come, the two new guys that we've got that works here, that they didn't come from suppressor backgrounds. I'm like, yeah, we go to the range, we shoot. And they're like, yeah, I'm never going to get my hand burned. I'm like, yeah, you will. You mess with this stuff long enough, you're going to burn your hand. It just, way of the life, So it's a fun time. It's like getting the brand, right?
Yeah. No, it's getting the brand, and I just, if you haven't looked, if someone hasn't looked into suppressors, look, everybody needs one. I'm a firm believer that everybody should have one.
Right.
To me, it just, when I shot full auto for the first time, like that was a giggle. Like I got the giggle button was triggered, but suppressor, something about the first time I ever shot a suppressor, especially 300 blackout suppressed,
right?
Like you can't help but laugh. Like,
oh yeah,
it's ridiculous.
And the thing is, I think we've all hunted with 270s, 30-06s, 300 Win Mag without any cans, and we know it hurts. I mean, your ear's going to be ringing for a minute. Putting a can on it, gets comfortable, and it's good for your ears. I mean, your hearing, so you ain't going to wear your hearing out. So look at it like buying a hearing aid, so to speak. Put the earmuffs on the muzzle, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I've the one I have right now, like I said, I hunt with a 6.5 Creedmoor, and I love it. I mean, like my dad can hear it across the field. He'll hear the shot, the crack, because I'm not shooting subs.
Right.
So he'll hear the crack, but I just love it because it's you shoot, and then my ears aren't ringing, but then also the how it controls recoil, and that, and I've actually I shot one deer. So I shot one deer in the back of the head, dumped her, and then the deer that was the doe that was next to her actually just popped her head up and was like, "What's going on?" Like, never ran, never did anything. It was just like, and if I had another doe tag, I probably would have had two does. But but yeah, she's sitting there and she just popped her head up, looking around, and she looks over at like the one doe that's laying on the ground. It's like, well, what are you doing?
What happened there?
What happened? Why are you laying down? And then just goes back to eating. Like it's crazy, and that's why I really push. I try to push suppressors on. I mean, everybody, just because the hearing safe, the hearing that it protects, for your hearing that it protects, that should be all that anybody needs to know, and then they should get.
Well, what you said, it mitigates the recoil really well, and then it makes your follow-up shot a lot quicker. Because you're not having to readjust, reposition your rifle, anything like that in that pocket of your shoulder. And, your follow-up shot's so much quicker with a can on it.
Yeah, no, exactly. So you just got back from SHOT Show.
Yep.
How was that?
That was fun. No, it was good. We was in Caesars for the first time. Real good. I mean, The Caesar's Forum is a lot nicer to me than the Venetian. Looks cleaner. It doesn't look like a warehouse. We had good foot traffic. I mean, we were busy basically every day except Friday, which that's all you can ask for. Because Friday, everybody's either tearing down and you got people from other booths walking around. But we had good conversations with a lot of folks. It wasn't too many people where you couldn't have those conversations. From SHOT Show of old, it's here's my business card. Call me on Tuesday, Wednesday afterwards, and we'll figure out something. I think ever since the whole COVID deal went down, it's a lot of people don't come as much to the SHOT Show. The ones that just go to get the free stickers, the free patches, get their RSR carts, and hit people in the ankles with them. But it was good. I mean, it's like I said, I have no complaints. The only complaint I had was the travel back when my flight got delayed to Vegas. So I missed my flight in Texas, and got home 8 hours later than I needed to be. So I had to fly to Dallas to Charlotte, then Charlotte to Huntsville.
Oh, jeez.
And they're like, "Yeah, your baggage are not going to be on the plane." I'm like, "Look, I understand that. I just want to get home.
Get me home.
I can get the bags later."
Right.
Because lucky enough, we put all our cans and guns in the crates with the SHOT Show booth, so we're not traveling with them. It's cheaper and easier for us just to drop them in a crate and all right, ship it to the shop.
Okay. And now, you guys don't there's no fear about just in case have those ever been stolen? The crates and stuff have they ever been taken?
They have 2017, 2018. There was workers there, forklifts that stole a couple crates of machine guns. So the only way they found them is basically the company and the ATF sent out a letter to all the gun shops in the Vegas area. I'm like, hey, here's a machine gun that there's maybe 7 in the U.S. So they're going to come looking for a firing pin. Because, we have to clip our pins and remove them when we go to shot.
Right.
And, like a month later, one of the guys came in asking for a firing pin for that specific machine gun, and that's how they got caught.
Wow.
But yeah, it's been stolen before. I mean, it wouldn't be a first.
Jeez. Yeah, that's I'd be paranoid. I'd be like, hey, I'll drive back. Just put them in a trailer. I'll drive it back. And
off we go.
Yeah, right. No, so my goal is to go to SHOT here one of these years. I need to try to I need to see what I got to do about like a media badge or something, like a media kit or something like that. I don't know if they, but no, that's interesting. I'm jealous though. I'm glad you didn't get the SHOT flu though. I'm sure, I'm glad you didn't get the sickness that everybody always gets.
Yeah, we lucked up. The only guy that got it was, surprisingly enough, the guy who does our welding and repair. So all the repairs and new builds this week have been put on hold, or the last week, because he's been sick.
Oh, jeez.
So if it hit anybody, it would have to hit that guy. But, lucky enough, knock on wood, 2 years in a row without the crud. But it's one of those things. You go 1 or 2 times, in your life, and you're good. The only reason I go now is to see the people I don't see but once or twice a year, and go to the nice dinners that the company pays for in the evening. So
there you go.
I'll suffer those 10, 12 hours.
Yeah, no, it's I feel like SHOT is a lot like, because we used to go. It's called Prepper Camp, and it's an annual camp that it's in the mountains in South Carolina. Or North Carolina, border of North and South Carolina. And so you go there, and it's just like the people who put it on, you're right on a lake, which is really cool, campground. And then you have classes. So it's like 2 days of, 3 days actually, full of classes that you can go and do, and anywhere from homesteading all the way up to, canning, foraging, all kinds of stuff. But you meet a lot of cool people. And my co-host Phil, him and I went. I think we went 5 years in a row, and it got to the point where I didn't go last year, but it just got to the point where it was like, well, hey, I want to go because I just want to go see these people,
right?
And it turned more into, it was more work because we were talking about the podcast, we were talking about just trying to line guests up and stuff like that. But it was really cool because we'd sit around the fire and just BS, and it turned into just just having fun with friends.
Yeah.
And so I can definitely see how SHOT for you, like, it's okay, I got to go there. It's business, but I get to see these people. I get to see this company that they're on the other side of the state, or that I correspond with emails for the entire year. And this is the one time that we all get to be under the same roof and just kind of
Right. It's good to
relax.
put a face with a name, and actually interact versus email. Because one of the days I made my way up to Palmetto State, saw the guys I've talked there to discuss a few things. Went over to the Anderson booth, and I don't know if you saw, but we're doing a suppressor ready rifle. Anderson is that they tuned all their ARs to our cans, so pistols and rifles. Mm-hmm. So when you grab them, you can actually put a can in that's actually tuned for a suppressor. So saw those guys, and saw, like I said, saw even some of the Remington guys I worked with. We, look at each other and laugh and call each other the Remington refugees because we're just all spaced out. I'm AAC. One of the guys is with Primary Weapons. One's at Ruger. It's just funny how we all landed where we're at now. So it's always good to catch up with the guys on that.
Yeah, and I think it's good to see, like, just because the community is very driven. It's divided rather. There are a lot of people that, like, they have their idea of how things should be, and then you have the other side of community that, like, this is how this should be. But I really feel like SHOT really kind of brings everybody under a roof, and I don't know. To me, it helps with the networking of individuals, and it brings I think it brings the community closer. That's what needs to happen. But so how was it with the ATF booth? Did you ever did you see that?
I didn't even watch. I don't think I had a chance really to get out but one day, and that was for like 2 hours. But I heard that they had a lot of the the gun right lawyers and things like that popping up at the ATF booth just to hound them. And the joke was, it's like, yeah, they probably sent the rookies there because they dropped that ruling the Sunday or Saturday before.
Yeah, it was like a day before SHOT started, and they were like, perfect timing. Nothing bad can happen to this. I'm surprised they didn't get, like, lynched, or I'm surprised their booth didn't get vandalized.
Yeah, it's crazy, but yeah, our things was like, yeah, the rookie drew the short straw on that one. Would not want to be that agent that week.
Yeah, he I don't want to go. You're going.
Seniority rules here.
Yeah, right. But we'll start wrapping it up here. So where can people find you? Where can people find AAC?
So website's www.advanced-armament.com. Our Instagram handle is Advanced Armament Co. And then on Facebook, it's Advanced Armament Company.
Awesome. Well, Josh, thanks for coming on. Really appreciate the contact that we've been going back and forth for about a month or two now.
Oh yeah,
sure. I'm glad we got to finally sit down and talk, and I look forward to talking to you some more in the future.
Oh yeah, that's the same with small companies like us. It's easier to make things like this happen on a short fly, right? So yeah, anything we can do,
Yeah, no, I really appreciate it, and if you guys, if there's anything that comes up that you want to talk about, you're more than welcome to reach out, and we'll get you on.
Okay, all right, sounds great,
any
man.
New products or anything like that. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. The only other thing is we've got this is totally left wing because I'm back in. Before here, I did a lot of networking in the music industry, so to speak. We've got some guys, Lakeview Country, out of Nashville from Pittsburgh. They're releasing a new single, so go check it out. They're big 2A guys, both love suppressors. If you look at a lot of our photos on our website, they came down to do a lot of our lifestyle shoots.
Really?
Yep. So if you see the guys that's tatted up, that doesn't look like your regular industry guy, yeah, that's Jesse and Luke. So great guys.
What's the band called?
Yeah, the band's called Lakeview.
Lakeview, okay.
Yep, and they're doing a new single on Friday that's dropping.
Okay.
So pretty great.
All right, cool. Yeah, I'll check it out for sure. So cool. Well, stick around, and I'll get the rollout going. But thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thanks, man. Thanks for having us.
See you guys. This is a Matter of Facts podcast. Signing out for another week. Hopefully Phil will be back because this just feels weird. See ya.